Hey everyone, Mick back here. This time we're starting on my new series, Buried Treasure, and this time it's the Smiths and their 1985. And how good did 1985 kick off with them with the release of the Shakespeare Sister 7-inch and 12-inch. This is the 12-inch. Featuring an appropriately yellow inner sleeve and the cover star of Pat Phoenix. Now on the flip side, there's two songs there, Stretch Out and Wait and What She Said. Now Stretch Out and Wait is an interesting song because it actually features a line surrounding Eskimo's blood in somebody's veins, which is actually borrowed from this Australian classic single. So here I am living in regional Queensland, listening to Morrissey while Morrissey is in Manchester, listening to some guys from Australia. The label, of course, reflects the inner sleeve of the 7-inch. And this one's on Rough Trade. Okay, the Smiths had a busy year in 85. The next thing I'm going to feature is this one here. Now what you get here is, this is the Rough Trade version. Notice the inner sleeve once again matches the colour of the label on Rough Trade. And this is, of course, That Joke Isn't Funny Anymore. Now, that wasn't it for 12 inches for the year. So what happened in the Benelux countries? They got the Headmaster Ritual with this exclusive sleeve. However, the B-sides are exactly the same as they were for This Joke Isn't Funny Anymore. It's that stuff there. Still, as Smiths fans know, you've got to buy the 12-inch for the cover. And quite a dull megadisc saw on the label. Smith's fanaticism didn't just stop there though. From Germany, we have the Barbarianism Begins at Home 12-inch, which is partnered with Shakespeare Sister. The cover star here is Viv Nicholson. No fancy in a sleeve, but we do get a black Rough Trade label on the vinyl. Now, their next 12-inch they released this year was The Boy with a Thorn in His Side. This is the Rough Trade Australian and New Zealand version. And the key thing here is the B-sides. While they do feature on compilations, on this version, they sync into each other with some dialogue, and it's from the same movie that the Queen is Dead dialogue is taken from. And we have Truman Capote on the front there. But this B-side is actually, well, was unique to this release until the Queen is Dead box set come out. And here we have it, as we got to see Rough Trade in Australia on the green and red label. So the big event for the Smiths in 1995 was the release of Meat Is Murder. So I better get rid of the elephant in the room, and it's quite an elephant. It's How Soon Is Now, which was released in 1984, but had videos made for it in particular in the US in 1985. So this is how it was originally released, as a B-side to William, It Was Really Nothing. Now, some versions do feature that, other versions don't, of Meat Is Murder. Let's go through a couple of versions that I have. Okay, so the first one is the Smiths' Meat Is Murder. This is the US version on Sire. You'll note there that How Soon Is Now is featured on this album. However, it is not featured on the inner sleeve for the lyrics, nor is it featured on the track listing, but it is on the album. Now I'm going to run through a number of pressings here, and they are in order of sound quality, but there is a bit of a caveat, and it does stick with How Soon Is Now. So How Soon Is Now, not on this sleeve, but definitely on the record, so you do get the music. Okay, next up we have the Japanese version. Now with the Japanese version, you get this fantastic inner sleeve, which certainly outlines all the lyrics, but you will note that How Soon Is Now is featured on both the album itself and actually on the cover. A unique obby there. On the back of the obby, we get a heap of back catalogue items for the Smiths. Okay, next one I'm going to feature is the Australian Rough Trade version of Meat Is Murder. Now that's side B there, and you will notice that it does feature How Soon Is Now. You do get the lyrics to How Soon Is Now on the inner sleeve, and How Soon Is Now is also featured on the sleeve. Artwork otherwise is the same. Now this is an interesting sort of point of call here. I actually think the Australian version is the definitive version of this album. It does feel and sound a lot like the UK version, but I think the inclusion of How Soon Is Now is a must for this album, because it's how the Smiths were being charted for the rest of the world. And back when I was buying this album, at a contemporaneous time, I would not have had the money to buy the 7-inch or the 12-inch of How Soon Is Now as well. So expecting on the album was a positive thing. Overall, it's third best sounding, but if you're into album flow, which is my preference, this would be number one. Number two sounding, this comes from the Smiths box set. Johnny Marr oversaw the reproduction of this, and I believe this is the current version that's available. As far as sound goes, this is fantastic. It's lush, you can hear everything, it's got full drive. Nothing wrong with having this version, however, does not feature How Soon Is Now. So certainly leaves a little bit to the imagination there. And finally, and this one is the best sounding version, And certainly if you count the artwork that's being done fantastically here, that's your rough trade label there. This is a nice thick laminated sleeve. It feels fantastic. The sound on this is full, and for mine is the definitive sounding album. There's your inner sleeve, and you can see the cover star from the Year of the Pig, the 1969 movie with Midas Murder put on, supporting Morrissey's beliefs surrounding animal liberation, which I must admit was the first time I'd really considered impacts in regards to animals and their consumption as a human. Okay, that's the Smiths, 1985. What a year for them. Welcome to Buried Treasure. Talk soon.